Would you like to see BYU be a regular game for you guys? Would you like to see them in the Mountain West Conference?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's I'm not aligning conferences. I mean, BYU is a very good football team. Traditionally, have been very, very good football team, and they're a really good football team this year. I think their record is really misleading. They've had a really difficult schedule, and they always do a great job. Back in the day when it was the WAC and we opened up, had a few games against them. They were always very difficult games, and they have a great program there. And it's no different this year. I think they're, really good with their quarterback back. He's really dangerous and very aggressive team on both sides of the ball. So their record is really misleading because they played a very difficult schedule, and but they played great against San Jose this last week, and so they're a very difficult opponent and gonna have to play our best to be successful.
Any other questions?
Coach, what was the mood of the team after the game Saturday, and then what did you see from them in practice Sunday as far as their moods and moving on?
Well, very disappointed, obviously. I mean, you put a lot of time and energy into things, and when a game like that happens, that there's a lot of things that happen uncharacteristically of what goes on. You're very disappointed with it because we shot ourselves in the foot a few times, and but I thought they bounced back fine yesterday. It was really important for us to get on the field yesterday and kind of get the bad taste out of our mouth and kind of clear the slate to move forward. So I expect when we come back tomorrow for our first day of practice against BYU that they'll be dialed in and ready to work hard as they always are.
Any further questions?
Coach, when you look at BYU, and you've had this situation before, I mean, you just lost to a team that was 2-5, and a lot of people didn't see it coming, but you knew they had athletes and they were dangerous. You talked about them all week as dangerous, especially on offense. BYU is a team that's played probably one of the toughest schedules in the country. A lot of those games haven't been as close as they typically are. But is that something that it can be misleading, and you have to help your players understand how talented and how dangerous they are because of the schedule they've played?
No doubt. I mean, it's when you watch the tape, though, it's very evident. They're very physical, very fast. They do a good job. They have their quarterback back. He was out for a few weeks, and now he's back, and he spreads it all around the field. He's a very accurate thrower. They're a physical team, as they always are, on both sides of the ball. So, the record is very misleading. Their game against Utah State, they had 7 turnovers, which that doesn't happen all the time. And, but a lot of difficult teams they played. And with the quarterback back, and they're kind of firing on all cylinders right now. They're fairly healthy, and so they're a very, very good football team. But our players will watch the tape, and they'll be able to see, that we'll make sure that they understand that, and so. But it's last week was a lesson of, when no matter who you play, and as good as BYU really is, it's all about us taking care of our business as far as, no matter what the game is. We can't afford to have mistakes like we had last week, and we got to get off the field defensively. We got to give ourselves a chance to be able to be on the field with the offense some.
In looking back, did you feel at all that maybe you guys weren't aggressive enough defensively in that first half? Maybe didn't put enough pressure on Stanton, or gave him too much space?
No, he was getting rid of the ball pretty quick. They weren't throwing the ball way down the field. They were throwing slants and little 12-yard outs. It wasn't that they had big explosive plays against us, because they really didn't. They just did enough to keep it going, to keep the chains moving. And like I said, some of those plays, they're throwing it right at the sticks, and he's putting it right on their chest, and we're hitting them right as he's catching the ball, and they held on to it, And then the back ran really hard, and he has great speed. He bounced in there. We had him stopped. He'd bounce out and get around the edge for some extra yards, and so it wasn't that we weren't putting pressure on. You know, a couple times we were out of position where we brought a blitz and they threw a bubble out there and got a couple plays on us with that. But for the most part, you know, they were just kind of nickel and diamond and you know, moving the sticks. And, you know, it was we did miss some tackles, but it wasn't from lack of effort. Like I told our team, you know, some things didn't go our way for sure, but you know, they played really hard. We put them in some bad situations a couple times, a field position, held them to field goals some, and you know, so they played really hard. They ran and played hard, so there was no quit there, no lack of effort by any means, and so that was encouraging to see.
It's kind of unique at this stage in the season to have a non-conference game, especially when you know that those 3 conference games remaining will decide whether or not you're in the Mountain West Championship game or not. How do you see this opportunity for your team? What's at stake this week against BYU as far as where this team's going and the big picture?
Well, to have another opportunity to play against a great team, and you know, so it's another week. It really, you know, I don't know that we really think is it a league game or a non-league game. It's our opportunity to play this week, and you know, we have something to prove each and every week we go out and try to reach our full potential, and so one more week.